Fancy using something different than boilies? Well, this is my way of preparing peanuts for carp fishing. This isn't a quick method. It's not something you can do 2 nights before you go fishing. You're going to need at least a week, I'd say. You can do an alternative way of just soak them for 24 hours or 48 hours and then boil them for 20 minutes. But this is a slightly different way and it does require a bit more preparation. So if you're thinking of doing it, I'd give it at least 7 or 8 days. So first, take a bucket with a lid. So then add your nuts to the bucket. That is about 2 kilo of nuts. I'm going to split these in the end and freeze them, so I wouldn't use all them in one go. Probably get 8 sessions out of that, something like that. So then take some full sugar Coke, it's got to be the full fat version, and then top up over your nuts by a couple of inches. Right, as you can see, I've added the Coke. That has 2 kilos took a full 1 3/4 litres of Coke. So you look at the bottom, there is more than about an inch over the nuts. So now I'm going to put the lid on and leave that for 3 days. I've left this overnight, and as you can see, the Coke needs topping up as the nuts have absorbed the Coke. So I'm just going to top it up now, put the lid back on and leave it for another 2 days. There we are, topped them up. Now I'm going to put the lid back on, as I just said, and leave them, and we'll have a look tomorrow and see what they're like. Well, hello again, and about 72 hours has passed now, just under, and I'm ready for the next step of preparation of the nuts. If you look, all the nuts have gone to the bottom now, so you will find they float at the beginning. Once they've took on enough water or Coke, they will sink. So basically they've all swollen now. If you have a look, that's on the left is the original size, and now they've swollen to the right hand side. Hence the reason you have to soak them before using them, because you don't want that swelling up in the carp's gut after it's eaten them. So yeah, I'll take the lid off. See, now they've all swollen up. So the next step is I'm going to take the nuts out of the Coke, keep the Coke to one side. I'm going to put the nuts into the pan and top them up with water, just normal tap water. I'm going to boil them now for 20 minutes on the stove. Right, what I'm going to do now is just put some water in this pan covering the nuts by a couple of inches, boil that for 20 minutes. I'm going to clean out this bucket here, because if I want like the slime on the nuts to form, it's got to be bang on clean. So I'm going to clean that now, and then the Coke's just in there for temporary, So I'm going to boil the nuts, and then I'm going to drain them after 20 minutes, pour them back in the bucket, and then I'm going to heat the Coke up, pour them on the nuts, and then put a load of sugar in, and then I'm going to leave for another 3 days, and hopefully when I come back they'll have the nice slime where it's started to go off the nut and the sugars come out. So hopefully that's what's going to happen. There we are, nuts are in there, ready to start boiling. Lid on. Right, once that's boiling, I'll leave it for 20 minutes to come back to it. That's the bucket clean now, ready for the nuts to go back in when they've boiled. Right, the nuts have boiled for 20 minutes. I've took them off the stove. As you can see, nice smelling as well. So I'm just going to empty the water and then transfer the nuts into the container what they were in before. Alright, bear with me a minute. Alright, just emptied the water out, and now, because they've been boiling for 20 minutes, these should squeeze. Oh shit. These should squeeze in my fingers like that. So that's how soft they've gone now, so they're a lot easier for the carp to digest now. So right, I'm just going to transfer them into my bucket. 1 minute. Right, so all the nuts are in the bucket now. I'm just going to rinse this pan out, then I'm going to get my Coke, pour that in there to the pan, warm that up so it's boiling, and then I'm going to pour that over the nuts and add a load of sugar, and then I'm going to seal the tub for about 3 days. I'm going to check it after 2 days, and on the third or fourth day it should start to ferment and you get the sugars, a bit like when you do tiger nuts. So right, I'm going to give that a rinse, add that, warm it up, pour it on the nuts. Okay. Coke's in there, heating up now, so when that starts bubbling, I'm just going to add it to the nuts again. Oh, right, just going to add that to the nuts now. There we are, the boiling Coke has just been added to the nuts. Now I'm just going to add a good helping of normal sugar, normal granulated sugar that you have in your brews. So I'm going to have a good helping of that in here. A bit more, I think. So that's probably half a bag, kilo of sugar. So I'm just going to mix that in and then put the lid on. I'm going to check in 2 days and maybe it'll have started fermenting, but if not, I'll keep checking it every day until it does, and then I'll show you the finished product. Right, that's it. Catch up in a bit. This is after 2 days now they've been sealed in the bucket. They are just getting a little bit sticky, if you like. They're not just falling. The nuts are not just falling off the spoon, so they are just getting that little bit sticky. I might actually drain a little bit of the Coke out, as it'll turn a bit quicker then, because there's not as much volume of Coke. So I might just pour a little bit away and then seal it up and check it tomorrow. Right, just poured about probably a third of the liquid out, if that, I'm not sure, but just a bit too saturated, so I'm going to leave these now for another day and see what they're like tomorrow. So get back to you tomorrow. Right, 3 days has passed and they're still not done. As you can see, the slime's not there. I think it's because I've done so many. I only usually do about a quarter of this amount and it takes about 3 days. So it's probably because I've done 2 kilos worth. So it might take another couple of extra days. But it is starting, does smell dead sweet now, so I think it's on the turn. So I'm going to come back tomorrow and check it again. Plus, I think it's because I've not kept it in hot place, because it's only in the conservatory and it's not been that warm. So if I'd put it in where the boiler is or something, probably would have turned by now, but I'm in no rush. I'm only going fishing in about 4 days. So here we go now. As you can see, all the sugars have started coming out now. Sticky, getting rather sticky. So they'll be ready to use later on. That's why the carp love them, and all that juices coming off it. So it works better than just using peanuts soaked for 24 hours and boiled for 20 minutes. See all that there? So they just started fermenting now. It's took a bit longer than I thought. That's took 5 days, just over 5 days actually. I didn't have them in a warm enough place at first. I couldn't fit them in where I wanted. So they've been a bit cooler, so that's why they've took a bit longer. If you can get them in your airing cupboard or something like that, they'll take about 3 or 4 days. So yeah, they're ready to use now, and I'll show you the rig, what I'm going to use them on. This is the rig I'm going to use with peanuts. You can just use a normal knotless knot, but I'm going to use the German rig, and I'll show you how to put it together. It's dead simple. So first, take your hook, use whatever hook you want. This is a crank hook size 4, barbless this one. Take hook link of choice. It's got to be semi-stiff. You can see that. It's a bit off. Then all you have to do is do a knotless knot. Don't have to do the loop at the end, because you're going to cut this just a tag end. So I'll just go around it only 3 or 4 times. 2, 4. Back through. So there you have. Just a normal knotless knot. And you can cut that tag end off. There we are. Then all you need then is a little ring swivel, if you can get that in focus. That just slides on your hook like so, which you will attach your bait to eventually. Then you just need some hook bead stops like them. Just need to put that over your hook. Slide that round to where the barb would be normally on a barbed hook. So as you can see, that's basically the rig. And then if you use an over particle, it can make it quite short. So basically I like to do two through. Let's give it a wet. Trim that off. Oops. There we have it. That is the German rig. And you just need to attach your bait with that. So take your nuts. There you are. Single or double nut, doesn't matter. Take your bait floss, or I'm just using a piece of bread here for now. Put it through the eye. And that's it. If you want to make it a wafter or whatever, you could just put a piece of cork in there, or in between the two halves, anything, or a little piece on the top, and then just make it so it sits like that and covers the hook. So that is basically the rig I use for peanuts. German rig with some nut wafting, and that's how it sits. And then the final part is we just need a blob of putty here about an inch away from the hook, and that'll just pull the hook down when the bait's picked up. It'll just pull the hook down into the fish's mouth. So just make a blob of putty for this. Some of that. Like I say, just want it about an inch-ish away from the hook. And then there you have it. And there you have it. Just needs a boilie stopper on the end, and that's the rig, the German rig.